if you're planning to visit the wonderful city of Singapore, you are going to be catching their buses or riding a train within their mass rapid transit network, as they will be your key to exploring this wonderful city. And so in this video, I am going to be outlining and comparing all the Singapore travel pass options that are available to help you decide on the travel pass that best suits your needs. Or you may even end up deciding that you do not need one. More on that later. Hey guys, it's Steve from the Fat Life Project. Welcome back to my channel. I upload fat travel guides such as this one on what to see, eat, try and do in cities around the world every week. If that is your vibe, I definitely recommend hitting that subscribe button so that we can go on weekly travel adventures together. So let's start by addressing the elephant in the room, which is, do you even need a travel pass? Because in some cases, you may not need one. Allow me to explain. It's going to come down to the frequency at which you're going to be taking public transport. And so if you already have your trip itinerary, what you want to do is you want to first determine the MRT/train station that is closest to your accommodation. You can do that using Google Maps. It's fairly straightforward to do, like so. I'm just going to illustrate this real quickly using Google Maps. Let's say I'm staying at Holiday Inn Express Singapore. All I need to do is to look that up in Google Maps and click on nearby and then enter MRT stations. As you can see from this example, my closest station would be Somerset, which is a roughly 9-minute walk away. And to where you're going to be headed to every single day during your trip. I don't know how many of you do this, but whenever I'm planning out my trips to any city, I look up locations in Google Maps and save them as a list. So here's my Singapore list. I've also saved Holiday Inn Express in that same list. You can now open that up, and as you can see here, Google Maps has now done up a summary of every single trip you're gonna need to take throughout your time here in Singapore. Once you have a collection of your routes, you can then work out the associated costs if you were to take each of these trips independently, aka without purchasing a travel pass of any kind. There are two ways to do this. One is more accurate but a little bit more time consuming. The other is much faster but a little less accurate. Let me show you how to do both. You want to head on over to this website here, known as the Fare Calculator. I've also placed it in my description box. So for every single trip, what you want to do is you want to enter in the stations like so. You select your fare type, hit calculate fare, and voila. And then add up the costs of all those fares and compare that against the prices of the travel passes that we're going to be talking about later on in this video. Obviously, if the total amount that you come up to is less than the travel pass, it means that you do not actually need to get a travel pass. In fact, that would be disadvantageous to you. However, if this is sounding like it's just too much work for you, in general, a train or bus ride in Singapore is going to cost you anything from $1 to around $3. A Singapore travel pass starts from 17 Singapore dollars for a one-day pass. And so if you're not going to be taking $17 worth in public transportation rides in a day, then a Singapore travel pass may not be worth it for you. Okay, so then what are your options? Well, did you know that you can just use your credit or debit card to ride public transportation in Singapore? It is indeed the most accessible option for tourists or short-term travelers, thanks to the Land Transport Authority of Singapore initiative known as the Simply Go scheme that allows anybody to use their MasterCard or Visa card to ride Singapore public transport. Simply tap and go. But if you're in Singapore for a longer period of time, or perhaps plan on using public transport extensively, the cost can quite quickly build up. And also if you're using your home credit/debit card, don't forget about those pesky overseas transaction charges. In which case, you do want to consider a travel pass. So let's now talk about the Singapore Tourist Pass. The key selling point of these passes is they will allow you to do unlimited trips on Singapore's MRT, aka Mass Rapid Transit trains and public buses for a specified number of days, 1, 2, or 3 days. You can get your pass at the ticketing service centers at the following 15 subway stations as listed on their website. The ticketing offices are not open 24 hours though, so if you do arrive at a slightly odd hour in Singapore, you may want to consider one of the 3 24 hours automated kiosk machines. 2 of them are actually conveniently located at Changi Airport MRT station's terminals levels 2 and 3. You will also be able to find the 3 days version, which will be available at the cheer shops located at the arrival halls of terminals 3 and 4. The passes cost 17, 24 or 29 Singapore dollars for a 1, 2 and 3 days pass respectively. The validity of the pass begins from the day you use the pass for the very first time. If you are purchasing a 2 or 3 day pass, then the pass will need to be used on consecutive days. The unlimited travel also only applies to public transports and trains and excludes rides on premium rides such as the Sentosa Express or the RWS8. Also, children age 7 and below travel for free. The tourist pass also gives you perks and discounts to restaurants, tourist attractions across the island, as you can see here, which I think is pretty cool. As you can see on their official website, there's also a Singapore Tourist Pass Plus version, which costs 48 Singapore dollars. It comes with the 3-day version of the Singapore Tourist Pass, which of course gives you unlimited rides on public transportation, but it also includes a free 1-hour explore tour, which is a fantastic and efficient way to see the entire city. More details on that tour available at the link here. I've also placed that in my description box. The package also comes with a postcard set and $5 credit off the Changi Travel Concierge service. But wait. What if you're somewhat in between, aka you're not someone who's going to be taking enough public transportation to justify getting a Singapore travel pass, but at the same time you do want to avoid those pesky overseas transaction charges? Or perhaps you're traveling with family or family members who do not have credit cards, for example children. I mean, you've decided to use your credit card, but your other family members will still need a travel pass. Well, enter the EZYLink card, which is a rechargeable contactless smart card that you can load up with money to be used at many places, including public transport. You can get your EZYLink card at Simply Go ticket offices located at basically any MRT station, convenience stores such as 7-Eleven, Buzz and Cheers, and EZYLink vending machines which look like this. The card will cost you 10 Singapore dollars and comes with a $5 value ready to be used. You can top up your card at various locations. The full list of the locations are listed on the EZYLink website, which will include Simply Go ticketing counters, kiosk machines that you will find at any MRT station, as well as various convenience stores using cash. Or you can even choose to top up the card within the EZYLink app itself using your MasterCard or Visa. But as I mentioned before, EZYLink is a cash card, which means that you can use it not only for public transportation, but you can also use it as a payment method at various locations throughout Singapore, where this sign is listed as a payment method. Hey guys, it's Editing Steve jumping in again real quick because I realized that I forgot to talk about the Nets prepaid card during the initial filming of this video. The Nets prepaid card, in the context of short-term travelers / visitors such as yourself and I, is exactly identical to the Simply Go EZYLink card. The purchase of a Nets prepaid card will include a non-refundable card cost of $5. You can get the card at various locations, including all convenience stores throughout Singapore. Much like the Simply Go EZYLink card, it is also a cash card, which means that not only can you use it for public transport, you can also use it as a payment method at over 130,000 locations throughout Singapore. Seasoned travelers will know though that in some situations, combining an EZYLink or credit debit card with a Singapore Tourist Pass may be the best way for you to go in order to save even more money. Allow me to explain. Say for example, you plan to be in Singapore for 5 days. If a Singapore Tourist Pass were your only option, you would then need to get a 3-day Singapore Tourist Pass and pair that with a 2-day Singapore Tourist Pass, which would then cost you a whopping 54 Singapore dollars. Furthermore, depending on your arrival and departure times on the 1st and 5th day of the trip, you may not even be able to take full advantage of the whole day of unlimited travel covered under the Singapore Tourist Pass. And so in this particular example, you may choose to get an EZYLink card to cover the 1st and 5th day of your travel, or simply use your MasterCard or Visa to cover those days. And then get a 3-day tourist pass to cover the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th day of your trip. Using the same 5-day example, you may even choose to do most of your sightseeing within the first 2 days of your trip so that you can get a 2-day Singapore tourist pass instead of a 3-day Singapore tourist pass. You get where I'm going with this. Planning a trip to a country you've never been to or haven't been to in a while can be quite stressful. Trust me, I get it. That's why I previously did another video outlining all the things that you need to know before heading to Singapore for the very first time. I have linked that video at the end of this video so that you can go ahead and watch that next. If you're looking for food recommendations, I've also previously done a video detailing 6 Singapore street dishes that you can get for under $7 that I perennially eat whenever I visit the Lion City. I've also linked that video at the end. I do hope that you found this video insightful. If you did, don't forget to drop me a like or subscribe. It really does help appease the YouTube algorithm gods, but more importantly, it just makes my day as a content creator. If you have a question, comment, feedback, or further suggestions, don't forget to drop me a comment, as I do love hearing from you. And if you got to this point of the video, I just want to thank you so much for your support. It really does mean everything. As always, I hope that you have a fantastic day ahead, or that you've already had a good day. I'll see you very soon in the next video. Ciao! So we're actually just across the road from our next food location, Song Fa Bak Kut Teh. Seems to be a little bit of a queue for it.